I will call to order the Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 meeting of the Middleton Select Board. It is 5:06 p.m. A reminder for those that are in the audience, thank you, I love having an audience, but for those that are in the audience, this meeting is being recorded, so both your person and your voice will be recorded. I will start off with our business portion of the agenda. We have before you Warrant 2612 as well as Facilities Project 76. So I'd ask the acting town administrator to roll us through.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the payroll side tonight, we have $1,065,911. You'll note overtime in the electric, light, fire, and police department budget lines. And we did see an initial amount under our snow and ice budget under DPW this time around. Expect more on the warrant that covers this most recent weekend.
That time of the year.
It is that time. Moving through to accounts payable in the amount of $2,926,835. We have some of our expenses for our attorney's fees. We had $5,885 for the DPW Water Department Consumer Report that goes out to all households. A number of IT equipment items at the fire department. $48,500 for the library hardware refresh from an annual town meeting capital article, which replaced significant amount of the library staff information technology infrastructure. Under MELD, we had $550,569 for the purchase of power. And we saw in planning $13,230 for another phase of the zoning rewrite, which was reviewed by Town Administrator Saltzback prior to his leave beginning. Down on the schools, we have $37,193 in tuition and just over $10,000 in transportation and electricity, respectively. And then under the treasurer collector, we have $1.9 million in change for debt service for all of our various December debt payments. And then under facilities project 76, we have $211,685, primarily for trucking excavation from moving the dirt from Natsu Way over to the municipal campus, and then as well as some utility costs as we continue the development on the site.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments on this?
I have
If not,
one.
yeah, go ahead.
On the, almost 6,000 for the report about the water that goes out, that's not Danvers' water responsibility to? pay
Not for
that?
our customers.
So you can blame that on me. So that was a law I passed in 1997 requiring water departments to provide an annual consumer report on water status. So if you're in the MWRA district, it's provided by the MWRA district. If you're in your own water district, it's provided by your own water
But our
district.
water provider is Danvers Water,
Well,
that's who collects the water money.
We are
not
a
us.
shared water district with Danvers. So as part of the intermunicipal agreement, they send it to their customers and we send it to our customers, because there are different rates and things that we're tracking for the different sides of the system. So
I would just think where they collect the water, we don't see $1 of water bill money, they get all the water bill payments.
this is funded through the water money within the DPW budget. So the water funds that are paid through the bills then go to this
Go
expense.
back to us.
Yeah,
You know
this
they're
is
paid
not
for the town
taxpayer.
of Danvers.
This is part of, within our DPW budget, we have water lines, and those are paid for through what we take back from Danvers.
So when people in Middleton pay their water bill to the town of Danvers, some of that, Danvers sends some of that money back to Middleton?
Yes,
Okay.
and you see that in the DPW salaries for the water operator, as well as
Part
some of the admin.
It's part of the water
Enterprise.
fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to your point, Jeff, it is paid for by Danvers, but we create and process it per DEP regulations.
I understand.
And the reason for that is at one point, and it was mostly the MWRA, would not provide any information to ratepayers or communities that were being served by them on what the water, what the water quality issues were. So it's actually a good report. $6,000, I don't know, but it's a good report.
It's a lot of it's mailing costs as well.
Okay.
Is that once a year?
Yes, yeah, it's an annual issue.
I'll move to approve warrant 2612 and facilities project 76.
Okay, there is a motion, and there is a second by Deb. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? That passes unanimously. Okay, in your package, you have two sets of minutes. You have November 18th, 2025 open session and November 2nd, 2025 open session. Are there any comments or questions on the minutes?
I do not.
Move to approve as presented.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? Okay. Before we move to the acting town administrator update and report, I'd just like to give a town administrator update, which is a big congratulations to our town administrator and his wife on the birth of their daughter, Penelope Fenway Salzbeck. We've all had an opportunity to see the picture of this beautiful bundle of joy. Very excited for the Salzbeck family. I know their two other children are very excited to be big brothers right now. However, we just want to say congratulations to the entire family, but a big congratulations to Justin, utilizing some much-deserved leave to spend some time with his expanding family. But we just want to send our congratulations and our love to Justin and especially Penelope Fenway.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, now the acting town administrator report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this will be the only acting town administrator update of my brief tenure, and I'm so excited, but let me share. On December 3rd, I participated in my first meeting of the Masco Superintendent Search Committee. I was glad to join residents and colleagues from across all three communities in reviewing candidates, and that process will continue in January. We continue working on collective bargaining with all units. I've already had sessions or will be having sessions by the end of this year with Middleton Fire, Middleton Call Fire, the Middleton Police Benevolent Association, and our AFSCME units for DPW, Admin Assistance, and Flint Public Library. Items will continue to come to the board as ready, but I just want to publicly thank our employees and their representatives for all the hard work thus far. Department budgets are due tomorrow, December 17th. Review meetings are being booked and will take place the week of January 5th. Some of those will be with myself and Finance Director Wood, and others will also include Town Administrator Salzbeck upon his return. I want to thank Finance Director Wood for her hard work to date with the budget and also with supporting us during collective bargaining. She's taken on a lot this year with all of our coverage. Last week, I met with the town's environmental consultant, Bruce Haskell, as well as attorney Mann and her clients regarding the continued monitoring and cleanup of property on Natsu Way from the landfill. The board will recall we funded a capital request for this work, and I'm optimistic that the MWRA project will be closed out by the end of this fiscal year, which will make way for the town work to be completed this summer and fall if we remain on schedule. This includes capping the unpaved parking lot to ensure DEP compliance and adding sidewalks up to the playing fields from where we pave.
So I know there was some discussions with another abutter on some access. I think it was at a meeting I was not able to be at for access for work that they're doing to their septic field. Will that work be done in advance of our work on the
I believe
sidewalks?
that access is already done.
It is already done.
It was, I think, a
Yeah.
very quick turnaround.
Okay, I didn't know if it had already occurred.
Yeah, I believe it's all set.
Okay, so that's not going to impede at all with that?
Not at all.
Okay, great.
On Thursday, the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a hearing on site plan modification proposed for 49 South Main Street, the former Angelica site. This is focused on the commercial piece of the development. Residents wishing to review the application and plans filed can visit the Zoning Board of Appeals page of middletonma.gov or the town clerk's office. The materials can be found on the Middleton Square 40B development section of the ZBA page with the December 18th meeting date section. On a high level, this is just the commercial property. One of the planned commercial use tenants is a daycare, and so this modification would allow the building of a playground and screening for that tenant's use, adjust the parking layout, and create construction phasing. The original application was just for one phase for all the construction. This would create 2 phases for the commercial piece only. This is only for the commercial part of the project, and folks can tune into the ZBA meeting at 7 o'clock in this room on Thursday if they would like to follow along for more. There will be a full update on this item later in the agenda, but I do want to acknowledge that we received notice of resignation from COA Director Jillian Smith last week. Jillian accepted an offer closer to home with another council on aging, and while I know myself and many others are very saddened to have her leave Middleton, I know the board and residents of Middleton will join me in wishing her luck. She's certainly transformed the COA during her tenure and has created lasting impact on the culture, work ethic, and service to seniors at the Middleton Council on Aging, and the wonderful design and creation of our new municipal community center.
Jackie, when will be her last day?
That's just the next sentence. Her last day will be January 7th.
That's a big shoes to fill.
Yes.
So I would ask if possible, I know it's the day before her last day, if we could have her before
Yeah.
the board on the 6th. Very, very sad and sorry to see her go, but this is a great opportunity for her, and it's an opportunity literally right near where she lives. I understand completely, but, you know, we can talk more about this on the 6th of January, but I think she's done a fabulous job of revamping and revitalizing the Council on Aging, and hope she comes back and visits us in our new facility.
Agreed. A couple more updates before I conclude. Tomorrow we'll have some minor construction work at Memorial Hall. We do not anticipate any impacts to service or the safety of staff. We are having some structural issues beneath the registrar's room where we store a lot of our sensitive files. And tomorrow they will be doing some additional temp shoring of that space. We have some very heavy fire-rated cabinets and safes, and they are being redistributed to other locations. There will be a cost of $2,500 of this. This is just so that the room is safe and we can get those files out of there. There may be additional phase 2 work to follow, just so that the building is safe as we make our plans to vacate it.
When do you think we could start moving some of that over to the new facility?
Probably not until the end of January, early February. This is material that needs to be in a building that has the fire-rated vault, the fire protection system, and it's some of our most sensitive and old vital records. So there's really not a lot of opportunity. Even, for example, just to talk about, like, there's a lot of dust right now. It's still a very active construction site. So we ended up putting in temporary switches into the IT room rather than the permanent ones because the dust volume is still so high.
Got it.
But I think, you know, I want to thank Building Commissioner Scott Fitzpatrick, Clerk Twiss, and our new Facilities Director, Peter Coleman, for finding an urgent and cost-effective solution for this.
This building's gonna last us a couple of more months, that's it.
I'm just trying to make it 3 months. That's it.
We'll send some baling wire and gum your way.
Thank you. Duct tape would also be appreciated. And then I just want to note the following holiday closures of our town offices, including a half day on Wednesday, the 24th at 1 p.m. will be closed on Thursday, the 25th, and Friday, the 26th, and that's all town offices. And then the following week on New Year's Eve, Wednesday, the 31st, will close at 1 p.m. We'll be closed on Thursday, the 1st, and then we also will be closed on Friday, January 2nd. One note for the board and members of the public, though, is that the food pantry will be closed on Friday, the 26th, but they will have extra hours on the 22nd, which is the Monday before, to ensure people have the opportunity to do the pickups they need.
Great, thank you.
And that is everything for tonight. Thank you.
Do you happen to remember how many applicants there were for the Masco superintendency?
I was gonna ask the same thing.
There were a few that were immediately knocked out that we did not review because they lacked the appropriate credential. I think I saw 12 or 14. If you'd like, I can follow up and give you the exact number.
At 12 or 14 total, or 12 or 14 that met the criteria?
12 or 14 that met the criteria that we reviewed.
That's fine.
About. But I can follow up.
At what point will there be public interviews and a decision?
We have not yet booked the screening committee's interviews. We've just done resume review, so in the new year for sure.
Yeah, no, obviously New Year, is there a plan to have a candidate selected by March?
I do not know, but when I know, I will provide an update to the board with that information. I think we're just trying to get screening committee booked right now for early January.
My guess, going through their budget, they would do the interviews toward the end of March.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything further on the town administrator updates and reports? Okay. Any update on the municipal complex?
Mr. Chair, we have 2 updates for you tonight, and I know Brian LaRoche from our PCA 360, our owner's project manager, will be back for a more in-depth update in January, but there are 2 items ahead of you tonight. Context Amendment 24, which is additional civil engineering work for 2 pieces of the project, partially the regrading that we've discussed for the additional fill to ensure that the town common is less a bowl and more of an even field. And then some additional costs related to the meld generator, which will eventually go back to meld. And then an amendment to the LW Bills contract. This is for an addition to the scope that was not previously bid for this fire alarm street circuit work as we move the fire alarm street circuit head end from our current fire station to the new public safety building. And that's some time sensitive work that they will be doing and working with Chief Lacoste and Captain DeShane on. And that both of those items have been fully vetted by the design team and approved by the building committee, recommended for your approval.
Okay, so we have two items that approval is needed. One of them is the amendment and contract change for B&B Engineering doing business as LW Bills Company in the amount of $148,113.19. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? Hearing none. That passes unanimously. And the second item, again, Jackie?
The second item is the context amendment 24 for additional civil engineering work related to the grading of the town common and the meld generator.
Okay, so you have a summary of that in your package. I think that was a total of $7,550.
Yes.
Okay, do I hear a motion on that?
Move to approve.
Is it a motion to approve? Is there a second?
I'll second
And a
that.
second from Debbie. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? Okay, that passes unanimously.
Yep. One question, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
It's outside of the actual contract, but permit fees invoiced separately, what, do we know what we're looking at for
No
costs
permit.
outside of
We
that?
don't charge ourselves permit fees.
That would just take it from the left pocket and put it in the right pocket. So
All right, so I can disregard that in the note of that, okay?
that's probably just standard in all of their documents.
Prevailing wage, hidden cost, that was just a little concern.
Yeah, no, there are occasionally permit fees for like site utilities, like if we have to do anything with Comcast or Verizon, which we cover. But if it's anything with our own departments, we don't charge ourselves
Okay.
for municipal use.
Okay, anything further on that? Any further questions or anything?
I do
Okay.
not.
We're going to move to number 2 on our agenda. This is the fun part of the job. I love doing this. So we have with us Chief Sampson. Come on up, Chief. We also have other members of the department here. We have Sergeant Detective Massini. But Chief, come on up. And we also, sorry I didn't see you out of uniform there. You were incognito. We have Captain Armitage with us as well. So Chief, the floor is yours. Olivia, hi. I love that name. That's my daughter's name, but Chief, go right ahead.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present the new candidate. Olivia comes with a strong background. She has a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice. She is now a professional trainer. Two things we look for: good police officers, physical fitness, and academic excellence. We've been conducting interviews for the last couple of weeks. We have multiple interviews coming up as well. Olivia came on top of our interviews. So we spoke to her and decided to put her into the background check phase, which Detective Sergeant Massini is our background, does all our background checks. Did a very intensive background. She came very highly recommended from all her previous employers. She has members of the law enforcement community that I'm familiar with that have given her high praise. So we're excited to put her forward as a candidate. I think she'd be a great addition to our team. And her background and her integrity has been exactly what we're looking for. So,
Have any of her previous employers been law enforcement agency?
she's worked in professional training and in the service industry. Now, my experience with the service industry is you can deal with the public, you can deal with problems, you can de-escalate. It's a great, other than law enforcement, I think it's a great segue into becoming a law enforcement officer.
So how long will it be from appointment to being able to be of help to the department and
Well, the
patrolling
good
on
thing is,
herself.
the Cambridge Police Academy starts in 3 weeks. We have a slot slated for that position. It's a 20-week academy, so it's actually going to be a pretty good turnaround, and then she'll be with us in the field training program, which lasts about 3 months. So we're pretty fortunate that academy's right around the corner.
So about 7 months through training and field training.
Correct.
About 4 months, 3.5, 4 months, and till we see you on the roads around here.
Exactly.
Should be on the road.
Assuming
Short
that-
sleeve shirt will be the first one that you buy.
Wait, a minute, don't
Thank God for that.
probies have to wear a long sleeve?
Nice.
Is that just what I see on television?
Upstate.
Probies, don't you have to wear a long sleeve?
That's LA, yeah.
Okay.
We could do that.
We've all seen that in TV. Okay, well, before we ask any questions or anything, Olivia, here's your opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself and what made you want to become a police officer.
I grew up in Ipswich, so not a town too far from here. It's a small, close-knit community. Criminal justice has interested me since I was a little kid. It's the first thing that came to mind when I went to college, what I wanted to do with it, and it's where I see myself moving forward with the rest of my career. Middleton happened to have a slot open. I had friends at Middleton came highly recommended. I applied, and I was thankful enough to get this position and go forward with it.
Well, are there any questions for the board?
No.
I don't have any questions, so you ready in 3 weeks?
I will be.
Okay. Well, I would entertain a motion for an appointment through a term of, right now would be June 30th, 2026? Oh, it is a full, okay.
So it's June 30th, 2028 with 1-year probationary period.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion through June 30th, 2028. If you're wondering why June 30th, we always do it on a fiscal year calendar, so every 3 years we'll be doing this, with a 1-year probationary period. Do I hear a motion? Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second? There is a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? I don't hear any. Sounds unanimous to me. Congratulations. I see there's a lot of proud people behind us, so congratulations. Congratulations to you. At some point in the very near future, you need to get yourself down to the town clerk, and you'll get to do this and get sworn in. I'd also welcome your family to be a part of that as well when you do your formal swearing in. So-
Interesting fact, she's a triple.
Oh, you're a triplet.
I am 2 older brothers, so there's 5 of us.
I wanted to
How
hire
much
all
older?
3.
8 and 4 years.
So I want to hire all 3. We could put 1 in each shift, and people would think she works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Chief, you're on to something.
I'm thinking it.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You on board.
Congratulations, Olivia.
Thank you. Again, I love doing this. It's like the best part of the job.
It is the fun part, Brian. You are correct.
Okay, although they keep looking younger and younger.
It's because we're getting
You're
older.
older and older, that's for sure. Okay, so
You guys speak for yourself.
number 3 on the agenda is the appointment of an alternate plumbing and gas inspector. We have Mark I'm gonna know. Sakalakos. Okay, you have in your package, you have information on Mark. He's a master plumber, been a master plumber since 2014, journeyman plumber license since 2011. And as I always usually ask questions of positions like this, while he is an actual currently operating plumber, this would preclude him from actually performing any inspections of his own plumbing work within the town of Middleton.
Correct.
Okay. So if there aren't any questions, this would be for a term through June 30th, 2025?
No.
Because it's an alternate?
6.
I mean, 26, because it's an alternate?
Yes.
Okay.
And this will be an alternate to our alternate. So basically, we have an alternate. He is not going anywhere. This is just an additional backup person so that if, someone's out sick, there's vacation, we have enough coverage for sufficient plumbing and gas inspection coverage.
We're not calling it an alternate, it's just.
No, it's just another, it's a
Not
second
an alternate.
alternate.
That's going to be a really big business card. Okay, so I would entertain a motion for Mark Sakalakos for a period as the alternate plumbing and gas inspector for a period through June 30th, 2026.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? That passes unanimously. Okay, continuation from our last meeting is the annual license renewals. You will see in your package on the first page, we have 5 alcohol licenses, which is House Station Market, Love Kush Marketing, Maggie's Farm, Serenity Catering, Middleton Beer, Wine, Tobacco, and More, JRS Business LLC, Rich Deal, Middleton Shriji Incorporated, and the Clubhouse Golf and Entertainment, AMMP Ventures LLC. Those licenses are all through the process. Also contingent on inspection, but inspections are scheduled, I believe, are 99's Restaurant and Pub, Bluefin Restaurant, RMS Group, Charlie's Roast Beef, Captain Pizza, which is Scotty and Maddie Pizza, Teresa's
So
Italian.
we're striking that
Yeah, we
one,
striking
Brian.
that? Yeah, we're
We're
striking,
striking it.
sorry. That is being stricken. That application is not going forward. Teresa's Italian Eatery and Deli, The Villa, Middleton Subway Incorporated, Panini Pizza Company, and Rizzo's Middleton. And all of those licenses are still in the process of
Building and fire
building and
inspections.
fire inspection. Then we have 2 additional licenses contingent upon, one of them on the payment of arrears, and the other one payment of arrears and inspection, and that is Lemaine Italian Pizzeria and Crossroads Kitchen and Bar, GE Group Incorporated and NG Group Incorporated. So are there any questions on that? If not, I would entertain a motion.
So I'll move to approve those licenses with the appropriate contingencies.
Okay, there is a
Second.
motion, there is a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, if any? Okay. Next on the agenda, we have common vic, with non-alcohol. We have Boba Tea and Snow Ice House and Cumberland Store number 6708, Cumberland Farms. Both of those have had all required inspections and are ready to go.
Move to approve those 2 licenses.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, if any? That passes unanimously. We have Class 2 licenses, Griff Auto and Roberts Motor Group. Is there a motion?
Move to approve those 2 licenses.
Second.
There is a motion and a
Gonna
second.
recuse on
Yep, I
those.
know you'll be recusing. So there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Recusal?
Recused.
Okay, that is an 4-0 vote. Next is gasoline pumps only, and we have Bouchard's Automotive, known as Middleton Gas and Service.
Move to approve.
There is a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there is a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? And then lastly, we have livery licenses. We have Black Glove Transportation Corporation, and we have LCS Limo and Concierge Services.
Move to approve.
There is a motion to approve. Is there a second? There is a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, if any? Okay, that passes unanimously. We have a series of remaining licenses that are on the docket here. The likelihood of us having a meeting before December 30th is, I would say, 0. So, Jackie, what's the status with those?
Yep, so, any of these businesses that are alcohol or common vic, we've already had a few that you approved tonight that were subject to the late fees that began on December 1. The late fees go up again as of yesterday, December 15th. So these folks will be subject to the late fee. They will have to appear in person before the board at your January 6th meeting in order to renew. And they also, if they are an alcohol license holder, will not be able to serve alcohol as of midnight on December 31st.
Right.
And at this juncture, we have a few that have been submitted and need correction, and a few that have made contact in response to our many attempts at contact. Unless someone has made a material gain between now and the end of the calendar year, we will not request a Zoom meeting for any additional approvals. If we do have any that make significant progress and are like truly ready to go, we will reach out to the board and see if you are amenable to a quick Zoom.
Okay. And what about the common vic, similar?
Common Vic have the late fee, but there's no like going out and taking the license. We'll follow up with inspectional services as they have more prompt enforcement mechanisms than this board.
Okay. And same with cash for gold. Okay.
So if someone had like a pizza shop with beer and wine, they could not serve beer and wine, but they could remain open?
Yes.
Yes,
With serving
With
just
no
their
alcohol.
So no
menu,
alcohol, right, with no
alcohol.
correct. Because all the public health permits were done, so they have their food service permit, but they might not have their Common Vic.
So, at the adjournment of this meeting, will you be notifying these alcohol licensees that as of December 31st, their license, like Cinderella, will disappear?
Yep.
Like Cinderella. I like that.
Okay,
Can I just make one request?
yeah, go right ahead.
In the future, would it be possible to add addresses to the list, just so, as I look at it, you know, the names change or whatever, that I'm sure we have it in a database somewhere, if we could just,
Yeah, that's
idea.
we could
wildly,
just add an address.
wildly easy to do. Not a
Yeah,
problem.
thanks a lot.
And maybe a color coding on
I like the color.
green, what the green means, what the orange means.
Yeah, that's a good idea, too, yeah.
Just the key code at the bottom.
A big thank you to the town administrator's office and really Jackie and JJ for doing this. I think this year's process seems to be a lot, I won't say easier, but less cumbersome than it has been in the past. And I'm going to call out the board for this, for really putting in place some requirements of our licensees, including some penalties for late, because unfortunately, the team there in the town administrator's office in the past had to scramble at the last minute to get some of these items completed through zero fault of theirs and 100% fault of the licensees. So, but a big thank you to you and JJ for the work on this. Not lost on me what has to be done here.
And I want to note two other people that deserve a lot of thanks, because Chantel in our office, who's on parental leave right now, did a ton of prep in August, September, and October. So she got everything ready to go and did a great job training JJ. And Deb Mahoney, when she was in our office, did a lot of prep in the back end. And I do want to acknowledge Deb today, because today was her last day in the town clerk's office, and she's now fully retired out of her part-time municipal service. And I just want to say thank you to Deb Mahoney and Chantel, who will be back. But JJ took the ball and ran with it, which is super appreciated by me and by Justin.
Good. Well, thank you to everybody involved, as well as the team that's doing the inspections, both at the fire department and public health and others.
Yeah, the young man's a big help.
Okay, next on the agenda, number 5. Number 5 on the agenda is the award of towing contracts. So there has been some emails of additional information that has come across from the town administrator's office on this bid. I know at the last meeting we reviewed these, but wanted to, they had just been opened and the board wanted to spend some time to review these. So just for those at home, the town of Middleton issues a towing contract and have not issued a towing RFP for many, many years, and issued a tow RFP contract looking for towing companies that support the police department, fire department, public safety, public works, and others with towing needs in the town, whether it's an accident, a broken down vehicle, a vehicle abandoned, a vehicle parked illegally, whatever the case is. And responses to this RFP. So Jackie, any other information or update that you want to provide?
There was a couple questions from board members that I did respond to today. One being that how many tows we do monthly on average, and I was able to send that data to the board. But just for reference, we're in the late teens each month with how many tow calls. And I want to thank Karen Matsubara, who put together that data from the police department for me. She looked at the last 3 fiscal years, and on average, it's about 15 to 20 a month, depending on the time of year and what type of events are going on. So it's definitely in need, and the chief did provide a recommendation, which I had forwarded to the board as well, about the necessity of having multiple people available to do this type of work. And then one of the contractors that put in a bid did call out an email with a typo, because they referenced the Mass General Law about the cap, and for some reason their bid did not reflect that, and they corrected it but it was very much a Scribner's error when I reviewed what they had noted as a typo versus the original bid. So that was a Scribner's error, because the Mass General Law is the Mass General Law.
But you have something either from his email address or letterhead that actually states,
That he acknowledged that there was a typo and that they follow the Mass General Law rate.
okay, I would have been better if it said the number he was, because the rate can change.
Well, the
rate
Mass
can
General
change.
Law is the number.
Right.
The number
Right.
is the number. If the Mass General Law rate
All right,
changes,
I-
then they have to change with it, as long as they're
Well,
following.
the Mass General Law is the max. We had bids with their rates.
No, it's a standard rate, not a
Okay.
not a
All right,
max.
I just was hoping to get something with the actual.
It's in your email, so.
Okay, I didn't see it, I didn't get it.
I will say that it didn't, for some reason, someone alerted me when I got here, it did not go out, so I resent it, but it is
I
in your
don't have it
inbox.
with me, but okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so, thank you for the update on that. Are there any questions from members of the board?
I'll say one, I have a comment to make.
Yeah, sure.
Like, the chief a few minutes ago, when we hired the police officer, said it's a public-facing thing, and it's good to have people that are good with public-facing. I think in this, people have accidents, and it could be a traumatic thing, and they have to go retrieve their car or get their belongings, and I think it's whoever we pick or whatever, I think we have to be mindful that, for lack of a better word, the tow company should have somewhat of a bedside manner or a good attitude with the public. To me, that's,
So Jeff, I could
I
not
agree.
agree with you anymore. You took the words right out of my mouth. Been there, done that. Recently went through something similar. My wife was in a very, very terrible accident on 114 and went through the process. And I also think, to the chief's recommendation, that we definitely need more than one vendor to support the town with the towing contract. So, thank you for that. I agree with you completely, especially, during the whole process of an accident or a vehicle getting towed, usually the first you respond or deal with is the police. If it's an accident that requires more than that, it's our fire department and our ambulance, but not long after that is the company that's coming to tow that vehicle. So, point well taken and received, Jeff. So I would entertain a motion for purposes. We have received 3 bids. We received from Danvers Auto Body, for Gators Towing, and from North Reading Auto Body.
Auto.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I wanted to concur with both you and Jeff. Not everybody that gets a car towed today is a bad guy. So, those people, most people, they don't ever experience that ever, and hopefully don't ever have to again in the case of a total car wreck or what have you. So your choice of words at bedside manner couldn't be more appropriate. And also, having experienced having to do it out there, having more of a resource to draw from in and of itself is a smart thing to do, as well as realizing that sometimes at the rate at which these things can happen in a single 15 minutes of a day, factoring in Middleton's known traffic, even more reason why, for a better, safer situation, we need to be able to have a deeper well to go to with, for road response for tows. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
I just had a comment on
Yeah.
if it is going to be more than one, how it would work with who was called first, when, like,
Yeah, so, Chief, I'm assuming what happens now, we have one vendor. So if a vehicle's being called to be towed, let's say it's an accident. I assume it's the police that makes that request and not fire?
Correct.
And I assume what happens is they contact the RECC, and the RECC dispatches as part of their role as the regional emergency coordinating.
They make the phone call.
They make the phone call and it dispatches. If this board goes with multiple vendors, will there be like an alternating day, alternating week? What would be your thoughts on that?
How I've seen in the past,
My question.
agencies work is it's a rotating list. So if Sampson Tow is on first, Crest, when a tow goes out, the top tow company would get that tow. Then they would go to the bottom of the list, and then it just rotates. So every,
Rotates by day or week or by
it would be
tow?
by per tow.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be that. That's how I've seen, and I've seen it successful, but again, that's a decision that could be by week, there's different ways you could do it. What I found is the easiest is just that, because it's always, you get one tow and you go to the next, and then it's continually rotating. Now, again, that's how I've seen it be successful. There are other ways you could do it by week, by month. Again, that's really whatever.
In our experience, or I guess maybe yours as well, Rick, but it's been a while since we've had more than one vendor. Let's say the case is you call dispatch, the officer calls dispatch, dispatch reaches out to one of the vendors and finds out, all of their tow trucks are out on tows.
Then you go to the next one.
Or we can be there, but it's not going to be for 35, 40 minutes.
And those are considerations depending on the tow. If it's a tow, somebody's broken down, not a hazard, and they say, well, it might be 45 minutes, that's not a problem. If you got a massive accident, there's three
Middle of
cars,
114.
middle of the road, we need them out, and somebody goes, we can't be there for 45 minutes an hour, you go to the next tow, because it's emergency. And what it would basically, the officer would say, I need a tow by rotation. And then they'll come back and say, okay,
Makes
tow's
it
on the way.
easy on them, too.
It basically is everybody, because, and then it's not, well, last month, this time of year, we get more. It's a constant rotation. Everybody gets a fair shot at it.
So I think it's fair to say it's likely this board's going to appoint more than one contract. So I think it would be helpful to have kind of like a policy in place and understanding that I don't leave that up to the police officer to say, oh, wait a minute, who's being dispatched? It's going to be the RECC.
Correct.
So
That's
I
why,
assume-
that's the eliminated, a
So
tow by
I'm
rotation.
assuming the RECC, can't remember how many communities are in the RECC now. How many is that, Captain? 10.
Today, we're up to 10.
Okay, so I assume there's, within those 10 communities, at least some that have more than one tow contract, so
I'm sure.
I'm assuming the RECC has a process they usually follow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I would look to is go to the RECC, because they do it, and say what's been most successful. And again, if we decide a tow by rotation and it doesn't work, you can reevaluate that in a few months and say, that's really not working, we could try something else. 'Cause-
Do 1 week with vendor A, one.
Yeah,
week with
absolutely. I
vendor
mean,
B.
because we haven't done it here in a long time, we could pick a way to have
Yeah,
the
one of the
dispatch.
reasons why I was wondering about doing like a rotating schedule rather than tow A, B, C, or something, is that a tow company would know, hey, this is my week, or these are my 2 weeks, I know I'm prepared, I'll make sure I have guys on call, hey, snowstorm's going on, this is my week, make sure I have extra staff available, so.
And you could have the discussion with the tow companies as well, what they would prefer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, it's something new, it's something that we could see how.
So
what's been
here's what I would
successful.
ask, Chief.
Keep in mind, you could have a handful in one day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or simultaneous, or a two-car accident that you're gonna need to bring two tow companies.
The
In
last
one
thing I would
shift, I'm
wanna
sorry,
see
in
is-
one shift, I should say.
I wouldn't want to see a two-car accident and two tow companies, one for car A and one for car B. That would be that would be a recipe for
But
Yeah.
if
not
it's
be a
in the middle
successful
of
thing.
114,
And it does
we gotta
depend
remove them, we
If
gotta
they have
remove them.
the tow truck, say there's 3 cars and they only have 2 cars available,
Yeah, yeah.
2 tows available. So, a lot of the things are fluid, depending on the.
So here's what I would ask, Chief. So after this board takes the vote and we move towards contracting with the 2 or 3 vendors, that you or somebody on your staff, I'm not sure who, you would either manage that yourself or delegate, doesn't matter to me, engage with the vendors in the RECC, see if there's a process at the REC that seems to be standard, but also to engage with the vendors to see what would be amenable to, because for me, I just want to make sure the service is as timely as possible.
Correct. And that's what we look for as well.
Okay. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm really in favor of the same day going down the list, I don't think that's fair for staffing for the tow companies. I think if it's, that would be unfair to have people
How would that work for you guys?
I think,
We like
to your
ready
point,
to
with-
work and,
to your point, though, I would say that let's let the chief deal with those weeds respectfully to
Yep.
this body. Like, you're the contract awarding authority, but we'll let the chief deal with
Okay.
how that protocol based on your feedback. Because the rule for award does say that this begins new service for us with additional vendors January 1. So we do want to try to have this in place. But then that'll give the chief some time ahead, because your January 6th meeting with the holiday, we'll do the packet before New Year's Eve. So if the chief can get us that protocol that he develops with them and with the RECC,
Great.
and then it'll be on your January 6th agenda. But all those tow companies will be in service, depending on how the schedule works out, but effective January 1.
and
We don't want to reinvent the wheel. If there's a process that's working, we're good with that. You know,
And
as
I
long
think-
as, like I said, we get on the radio, we get a tow there, that's what we're looking for.
I think going from only having one to multiple, I think it might make more sense to go with 2 than 3, given the 15 to 20 tows a month for the size of
Yeah,
our
no,
town. I think 2 makes
agree.
more sense as testing how 2, I think 3 spreads are too thin, and it's just spreads are too thin, I think, and isn't fair to the vendors, my opinion.
Okay.
Again, we have no dog in the fight. Whatever you feel, we'll work with.
Okay. I would entertain a motion for award,
Effective January 1, 2026.
effective January 1, and this would be for a contract period
Isn't it 3?
As outlined in the RFP.
as outlined in the RFP. Thank you.
I think it was 3.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make
So moved.
that motion.
No, well, I need a motion on who you
Oh.
recommend.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, my.
Again, we have Danvers
Yep.
Auto Body, we have Gators Towing, and we have North Reading Auto.
I make a motion for Danvers Auto and Gators.
Okay, there's a motion, there is a second. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? Okay, so Jackie, you will transmit to all bidders, and then there will be movement towards a contract. I know one of the bidders is in the room, so you've heard this conversation. At some point before January 1st, there'll be some contract language that you'll need to sign, and the other you'll notify electronically or call sometime this week. And then, Chief, I'll leave it to you and men and women in your department to do your magic over there.
And I appreciate the vendor that came in, that's meaningful, that you took the time to come in.
I also appreciate that the vendor is a resident of the town of Middleton.
It should be pointed out, Danvers Auto Body is actually a resident of Middleton.
It's okay if you call it
For quite
Danvers
some
Middleton
I
Auto
was
Body,
gonna
I'm okay
ask
with
which
that.
one.
Whatever you guys want.
Okay,
Service the town.
good, well, glad to hear.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so next on the agenda is number 6, which is pursuant to what Jackie opened the meeting with the news that our Council on Aging Director is departing, the need for the creation of a Council on Aging Director search process. Jackie, you want to talk to us about what you're thinking?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So, switching to my HR director hat tonight, this is kind of less of an action item and more of just an FYI. So you are the appointing authority for the COA director position, and so I am going to replicate the process from the last time we hired a COA director. I think we all found it to be very successful with Jillian in the role. And so what I am proposing to do will be posting the position this week with a due date in January. And then I will be putting together a panel to work with me on that. The screening committee will not be a screening committee of this body. It will be a working group that I assemble. And at this time, gentlemen, can I ask you to, Chief,
Chief?
can you step out? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Apologies. So it will be myself, Chief Doug Lacoste of the Fire Department has agreed to serve on the committee. Our VSO Kevin Welch has agreed to serve. I will be asking the COA board to submit 2 of their members to represent the COA community, and I will be asking the Recreation Commission as a committee newly staffed by this position as part of our new community center to submit 1 of their members to serve on the committee. And so we
Will
will.
there be a member of the public at large?
Not at this time. We I'm using the same formula that we did the last time we hired a COA director, and I think
That formula worked.
it worked. And respectfully, there's a lot of public processes going on right now. This is, even my process when the town hired me was not a public process, so I don't think that's necessary at this time. But that will be the group I work on preliminary review with, and then we'll bring in the town administrator, maybe another department head or two for a second round, and then we'll make a recommendation to this body.
Are you planning on just bringing one candidate to this body, or?
One candidate, yep.
One candidate. So why a different, I'll take the library, for example. The library, there's a select board person on the committee, a couple of candidates. Why the difference? I'm just
Yeah,
wondering.
great question. So the library has its own elected body. So the COA board is an appointed body of this board, and the Recreation Commission is an appointed body of this board.
Yeah, my opinion is I'm okay with the two boards that we appoint. Part of our appointment of them is they're kind of a voice of the board that appoints them as well. So,
And I think in the case of the library, with respect to the trustees and those being elected positions, yeah, it's different. I think that's why, there should be a difference between them.
And I think we've kind of changed some of the ways that we've been doing department head hiring. I find that this is a formula that works best. Once we get into you all appointing people to a screening committee, it makes it a public body. There's open meeting law protocol, which is very burdensome for, frankly, me. But also, I think that combination of people, of having representation from the boards that work with most directly and represent those two communities, will get input from those two communities to those. So if people have what they want in those two communities of recreation and COA, of what they want in a director, they can provide input to those people as well as myself. And then two of the most common collaborators for the COA director are the VSO and the fire chief. I will offer Jillian, in her role as COA director, served on screening committees for me for the VSO position, for example. Those two have to have a really strong partnership because of the way their departments provide services. So I think that's a perspective I find really helpful. And I will say that we've seen a huge increase in the programming between COA and fire, for example, with Retire the Fire and some of the educational programming going on at the COA. The chief is someone else who does a lot of collaboration with our Council on Aging director, and those are collaborations that for me are some of the hallmark of the best of what our department heads do, are those collaborations, and those people see the COA director in situations that are positive, like community celebrations, but they also work with our COA director in their more social work type roles when we're dealing with our homebound residents or people in crisis.
So I think one of the things that would be helpful for this board to it be clear what it is as the appointing authority of what we're looking for in this position is, it's incumbent upon the board members to, through you, really provide some input of what we're looking for in a candidate. To the point is, if a single candidate's coming through, I mean, I have trust in the process, but I also want to make sure that this board's focus is included in that process as well.
And I will offer that if any board member wants to provide feedback to me, from a high level perspective, there's two factors that I look for in a Council on Aging director that, I've talked about with Jillian over the years and that I've seen in prior communities. You have to be a little bit good at two different things. You're a cruise director and a social worker. You have to have two very unique skill sets that don't always come together in a package, but the really great COA directors do both these things well. You have to be able to build culture and community and programming and volunteer core, and that's the cruise director part. You get people to join. You are the life of the party in some ways, in that you are bringing people together and building community and building consensus, but you also have to have a knack for the confidential conversations and interactions that come with being with people or their loved ones when they're navigating health issues, housing issues, isolation issues, all of that. So you have to kind of have those two unique perspectives to do the role. I'm very open to other feedback that you have about what you look
Some
for.
feedback that I would provide right now. So, and I've been saying this for some time with a new facility that's going to be opening up in February, March timeframe. There is going to be a significant, and I would actually call it almost bottled up interest in our COA community center. There's going to be a lot of folks within the town of Middleton that are going to want to access services there. There's going to be a lot of folks outside of the town of Middleton that are going to be looking to access services here. I'm really looking for somebody in this position that is able to scale and manage accordingly. It's going to be, I'm not going to call it the Wild West, but very early on, it's going to be a packed house at that facility. Secondly, I'm really looking for somebody that understands the intricacies of Middleton and the needs and wants of Middleton, but is also able to be a very firm manager, not just of staff, but also those, because we have, and I talked to Jillian about this in the past, when the programs go live in our new facility, how do we make the decision between if there's 10 slots for a program and 14 people show up and 11 of them are from Middleton and 3 are from outside of Middleton, how are you? So those are the, and some of that is just kind of management style. So those would be the items that I'd really ask for an understanding and a focus on. You know, really understanding what the seniors in Middleton, and this is more than just the Council on Aging Senior Director, what the community of Middleton wants, needs, and expects.
Ruby's raising her.
Yeah,
Brian,
Deb?
if I may.
Sure.
So Jackie, you said that you were going to post the position this week in hopes of filling it by the beginning of January.
The hopes of it being due back in beginning to
Oh.
mid-January. We'll be likely doing interviews throughout the end of January, and I'm hoping to come to this board with a recommendation for appointment at one of your February meetings.
Okay.
Are we going to be needing to designate somebody as an acting?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Jillian has developed a really incredibly detailed transition plan, and we have started executing some elements of that. I've brought the town administrator up to speed right as he was heading out the door, and I today met with Assistant Director Anderson. There will be some additional support and coverage provided, but we're working diligently using the most of Jillian's time through January 7th to ensure we have a smooth few months as we bring on a new director.
Okay.
I have to say, I'm surprised, I'll use the word surprised that there isn't, it seems one elected official on the screening commission, that committee, that's a big position.
I'd say, I mean,
With a lot of people on the screening committee.
I just want to say, this is the board's appointment, so if the board thinks differently, this is our purview to think differently.
I'm not saying I want to be on it, but I think there should be at least one elected official on it, if that's,
My only piece that I will offer is we have a lot of different groups, and it's becoming very difficult to fill positions with multiple elected officials on screening committees because staff have the ability to work day and night. And if there is someone on this board who is willing to serve and can commit that they're going to be able to make the meeting schedule, I'd be very welcome to have a member of this board on that group. But it would be that you've designated someone to meet and it's not a committee of this group.
Well, there's going to be some folks on the screening committee that are not town officials, not town employees.
Correct.
Yeah.
But those groups do meet during the day most often. So
Yeah.
if a member of this body would like to join us, you would be most welcome. But I need whoever they are to commit because it's really difficult to do these screening processes when a member or two can't make the meetings.
And I would highly recommend that if there is a member of this board that wants to serve in that capacity, that I do not want to let time lapse here. Jillian's gone on the 7th of January. You know, if we're done with this process by the end of January, let's just say the candidate is somebody that maybe has a job elsewhere. It's going to take some time for he or she to transition over. We have a building that's opening up. That building in this
needs someone
facility,
right away.
which is going to be the facility, I mean, hey, everybody's going to stop by town hall to pay a bill in person because they're going to want to see it. But it's going to be the senior center, community center that's going to be very full. Hopefully not everybody's visiting the police department, but there will be some residents in town that'll be visiting that as well, by choice or not.
So I will do it if everybody's okay with that.
I am more than
Is it
okay
during
with
the
that.
day?
We're trying to do during the day. It's hard.
I'd love to, being
It's
connected as I
budget
am,
season.
but during the day, I
It's
couldn't,
budget
unfortunately.
season, so there's not a lot of evenings left.
Yeah,
Respectfully, I want to be mindful of everybody's time. Not only do you appoint the COA board and the Recreation Commission, the VSO, the fire chief, and myself are all appointees of this board as well. I'm very open to your opinion and to your feedback. I also just, in the impetus of, it's a big move coming, and I need to move quickly on this
Yep.
particular
No,
position.
I agree.
If
How
Mr.
long are
Prin-
you going to keep the posting open for?
About a month, which is pretty standard.
I would tighten it up.
Yeah, I was just gonna
I
say
would
the
tighten it up,
same
too.
thing.
But a lot of that is the
Christmas,
holiday
yeah.
season, so.
It's the holiday season, the return of the town administrator. So, like, I'm probably gonna keep it open till January 12th because my bandwidth will expand that week,
Okay.
respectfully.
Jim, can I make a motion for Costa?
Of course you can
To
make
be
a
the
motion.
member?
Sounds like a
Select
motion
board
on
representative?
Costa. Is
And
there?
I'll second it.
It sounds like a second. Any further discussion?
Thank you, Costa.
Thank you,
Hearing none. All
Costa.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, with
Okay.
thanks, Costa.
Costa, I'll send you a schedule.
Okay. I'm just going to move, because it's past the hour of 6, I'm going to move quickly to number 8 in the agenda, which is public comment to be held at 6 PM for Select Board's meetings. Is there anybody in the audience that has a public comment on something that is not on the agenda? Hearing none. Okay, I'm going to ask for number 7 on the agenda to be moved to the end of the agenda, and we're going to move directly to the 6:10, because it's almost 6:10 now, is a joint meeting with the library trustees. So I'd welcome the library trustees to come up here and sit at the table over here. And then I'm going to need the chair and the library trustees to open your
Hey,
meeting.
how are you? You can move down another chair, and there's a chair at the end.
No, I think.
Yeah, slide it.
Do you have room
Do
down
you need
there?
more
Yeah,
room?
I think there's enough chairs.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Good?
We won't make you stand.
I'll stand, I'm no problem with that, fine. I just didn't want Mark to be like falling off at the end of the table there.
Okay, Mark, I'll let you open your meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Cresta, Chair. Mark Moreski, Chair of the Library Board of Trustees, 606, calling our meeting to order. Thank you for having us.
Okay.
Um,
So I know,
Sorry, go ahead.
so we are, it's like deja vu. We're back here again because the library director search process is reopened. I know several members of your committee had asked for an audience to talk about the process. And on the agenda after this discussion is an actual vote and movement on the library director screening committee structure. But I know that members of your board wanted to have a conversation with us, so I guess I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to you, Mark.
Thank you, sir. And to your point about deja vu, I think we are not aligned as a board again. And I'm interested to hear the perspective of my board. I'm still of the opinion that I like the joint, our joint boards meeting and electing the next director. I think we were in lockstep and really did an excellent job. The screening committee was amazing. We had a very cohesive group that was all worked well together and communicated well. And I think we put forth a great candidate that unfortunately didn't work out. So again, I'm going to, if it's okay with you, let my
Yeah, sure.
board share their thoughts and
I'm
go from there.
very adamant that it should only be the trustees that make the final decision. The select board is on the screening committee. I think the select board has concerns about finances and things like that, town-wide, but the focus for this board here, the trustees, is the library and making it best for the community. And I feel that the final decisions should be made by the trustees and not a joint select board. And that is where I'm coming from, because that's one of the most important roles of the trustees is the hiring and evaluation of the director. And I think we are the ones that should be held to that responsibility. And because it's precedence, doesn't mean that it always has to be.
So I'm going to ask the acting town administrator to also confirm this. And we didn't really get into this the last time we did this. Our charter is not silent on this. Our charter is crystal clear on this, that the appointment of all department heads in this town is made by this board. If this board wanted to follow the town charter, there would be 5 members of this board that would be making the appointment of the library director, and your board would not be a part of the process. If we follow the town charter, I understand what you're saying about what the Mass Library Board of Commissioners recommends, but I am bound, when I'm sworn into office, to follow the laws of the Commonwealth and the charter of the town of Middleton. And so I thought during our discussion last time, which at the end of it, I continued to scratch my head because I couldn't understand, because people had one position and then the position changed. And I felt like I was in the twilight zone. But here we are.
Brian, can I
A couple of
ask?
months later, let me just finish
Yeah,
my
I know,
point here.
but it's like
Let me just
repeating-
finish my point here.
Same point.
But here we are again, having the same conversation, where if this board wants to take a position of following the town charter, this board can take a position that the appointment's going to be made by this board only. We don't want to do that. This board wants this to be a joint appointment. A, like it has always been, but B, follows the town charter, which requires that this board be the appointing authority of all department heads. And that's both what our charter says, and I believe Jackie, town council, has reviewed.
So there's a couple considerations with town council. So that is what our charter says. There's also state support for the trustees being involved, which is why we've historically done it as a joint appointment.
Exactly my point.
I really don't want to play lawyer versus lawyer, because I think different lawyers will have different legal
Yeah,
opinions.
and this is
But-
why I think historically this board has leaned on that.
Respectfully, if you want me to go down that rabbit hole, I can. It's just not one I've had time to pursue.
Well, it's not the rabbit hole I want to go down. The reason why I thought it was important for this to be joint is there's a clear message that's sent to the candidate or candidates that are part of the appointment process.
I agree with that.
And
wholeheartedly.
I think it's also clear,
Respectfully,
It's also- if-
there's 2 members of the select board who are on the committee. The screening committee. So you do have a say.
on the screen, can I tell you, my recommendation in the next round of this is not even to have a screening committee, to move whatever candidates we get, bring them to an interview. That would be my recommendation.
Brian, before we go further on different stuff, it was my understanding when you say you do all the department heads, didn't the electric company do
Electric department.
department? I meant to say department.
Middleton Electric Light Department is not a department of the town of Middleton. It is a separate. It is part of the town of Middleton, but their budget is not even approved by the town. I
But
don't know if you
it is-
noticed their budget's not approved by town meeting.
Yes, but they are a department that
No, they're not.
they go to, they meet as a group with the other department heads, with
They are-
Eileen, correct?
I would say MELD is, in some regards, is not much different than Masco.
They're independent.
They are an
of-
independent, separate entity.
I don't know if I agree with it completely, but you've said what you said. I will just say, just to make it clear, I support what Susan is saying. I mean, I think that everything that she said is spot on. I mean, we're elected officials. The idea that we're not, the most important duty that is listed from the state, I get the charter, all of that. That doesn't mean that we can't appoint that person. It doesn't mean that we can't do it. It has been done in the past.
That, because we've followed the process, if we've wanted the library trustees to be part of that appointment.
I mean, in the past, library trustees have made the decision and not in a joint.
The last 3 that I've been on the board for, it's been joint.
I was told that the trustees did make that decision in the past. But regardless, we are here today, but I believe there is precedent that the trustees have done that. And regardless,
I would
I
argue
don't.
there is more precedent of it being done jointly.
Okay, flip your coin. But I think Sue makes a strong case in everything that she's saying. I mean, what is our mission here if to be elected? We might as well be appointed by you. Why should we even be an elected board if we don't have that power, so to speak, to make the decision of the library director that we really know more about that than anybody? And as Sue said, and we all talked about this, you and Rick were on the screening committee, and Mark and I were on the screening committee. And then we had members, Annie from the Friends, and a couple of residents. And yes, it did go well, but the candidate didn't take it. So to me, this is a perfect opportunity. Here we are again, unfortunately, as you said. I don't see why this shouldn't be perhaps a trial run of allowing the trustees to do this. Granted, if something goes wrong with the candidate we choose, that's what it happens, as it did with the one that was chosen who decided not to take the job. We can't control what people decide in the end. I think it would be a very gracious, collaborative effort for the select board to allow us to do that, considering that Costa is on the library board, on the select board, some other things too, quite a few. Costa contributes a lot of his time to this town, which everybody does appreciate. And I just think it would be a gracious thing to do and allow us to do what we believe is our job in the right from the core, from the state.
Well, I mean, and respectfully, and I enjoyed the work we did. We did a lot of work. I got to know people better. I saw, a lot of collaboration and cooperation that night at the library, and people's happy faces and smiling. We were making progress. It didn't work out the way we wanted it to, but I just, I'm not trying to, I don't understand. I'm not trying to take anybody's power from anything, but where the select board, any one member, could be any one of us, ultimately are in charge of the budget for the entire town, of which that position is a large part of. And I just feel that, I don't know, I feel like I shouldn't have to ask to be respected. But my feeling that some part of the select board must be in charge of that, because we're the ones that ultimately decide the budget.
But you have two people on the screening committee.
But
So that-
ultimately, we can't decide.
It was pretty much unanimous when it came to we had two,
Yeah.
as you know.
It was unanimous, I'm
I
sorry to
mean,
interrupt
and
you.
someday cost is
Almost,
not.
well,
gonna-
it wasn't
it was-
initially.
it was-
Someday you won't have a select person on your trustee board. And,
No, you had two members from the select board on the screening committee, I'm
no,
saying.
you're saying for the final choice.
No, I was saying the two members were
I
on the
understand
screening
that. I was
committee.
part of that. My
Yes,
thing is,
correct.
to chase it to the final end, I just don't see how you can't respect the fact that we have a responsibility of the town budget and to not have a
That
say
will
in it.
continue.
If this
I'm
vote-
very disappointed in that.
If this vote that was taken for the appointment, then unfortunately she didn't agree to a contract. But if that vote was done by just one board, it would have been the same outcome as it was jointly.
That's
I'd
my,
also say that the
Exactly.
screening committee, quite honestly, was what the outcome was. So, you say collaboration, I think this board's being collaborative in this. I mean, I appreciate the point that you're making on this, but, and you're clearly talking about precedent. The most recent vote that we took was the precedent. Candidate, the library director, prior to that, was done in this process. The library director before that was done in this process. The library director before that was done in this process. And guess what? The library director before that was done in this process.
Perhaps, I don't know.
Clearly. And the one before that, there wasn't anybody in this room that was a part of it. So I can't speak to that.
Well,
But
what
all
ab-
the other ones, I was on this board, except for one of them. The appointment that happened was before I was on this board. But looking back at it, it was a joint meeting of both boards.
May I ask something, Brian? Because you brought something up I'm pretty sure you did, not someone else. You had said you were thinking of not having this.
No, this is my opinion, not this board's opinion.
So-
My opinion is, I actually think, and quite honestly, I think we're going to get a small number of candidates.
Well, what about this, Brian? can I make a suggestion? It came to me when you just said that, and I think you said it before to me or something. Say we don't do a screening committee. Why not allow the library board to bring one or two, well, like you said, I don't know how many candidates we're getting. Why don't we make the decision of, not choose, or however you want to phrase it, that we bring the candidate, skip the screening committee and have the trustees
The
bring in
reason why
candidate.
I'd like to skip the screening committee, I want to get this act on the road.
Well,
I
I'm
wanna get-
saying, what
I wanna
about
get
that
a-
suggestion?
She's wearing 3 hats right now.
I know, but that's not the question I was asking. I said, what about skip the screening committee? Maybe I wasn't clear. I apologize if I wasn't clear.
A point of policy on that. So the reason why we don't ever have a board as a body do the screening is because once there's 3 or more members of the appointing
It can't be-
authority,
It has to be an open meeting.
it has to be an open meeting, and we can't protect the candidates with executive session, and we will see less people apply if we don't interview them
Correct,
preliminarily in executive
when-
session, because then they're putting their professional reputation in their current position on the line, and they don't know
I
that they're
thought you
even a
told me
finalist.
that wasn't true if we had 4 or less candidates. In our meeting.
No,
It's when you-
for a screening committee has to be done.
Okay, maybe I won't use that term screening committee.
And
That the board looks at 4 or less candidates, you said, then that wouldn't be an issue. You told us at our last meeting.
no, I did not.
I could have sworn you said that.
If there's 4 or less candidates, that goes to public meeting. You don't bring more than 4 to the public meeting.
Okay.
But if there's any screening at all, whether you use the word screening or not, any preliminary review of candidates by more than a quorum of the public body triggers open meeting, and you have to do it in open meeting.
That's
You-
fine. We could do it in an open meeting, why not?
Well, because then we're jeopardizing, if the person
Well-
coming is working somewhere else locally and they're seen on TV interviewing for another role, they're obviously, I wouldn't go live on TV interviewing for a role, for a job that if I had an
That I haven't
existing.
even given a notice to.
Well,
You
and it's a
just wouldn't
very
do that?
common occurrence that folks will go through the screening process, be moved on, and the phone call will be made saying, hey, Mark, we'd like you to be a finalist for the town administrator position. And then you're like, you know what, I'm going to withdraw myself. Because, yeah, I just went through the initial screening. I think I
Practice.
did well, but I don't think I did that well. I don't think I'm going to get this job. But you know what? After doing the initial screening, I don't know if I want this job. And I'm not going to sit in a public meeting on camera where my boss at the other town is going to find out I'm applying.
Well, a lot
And
of
that's the
people-
whole rationale
A lot of
for
people use
open.
it to get a higher raise, too. I mean, we've seen that happen many times.
And
It goes, that
That
happens.
happens all
More-
the time, whether it's
right.
municipal or private sector.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in general, that does happen. People find out, we know in today's world, people find out more things, social media, all the stuff that goes on, people talk, and
Well, that's one of the reasons why I want to move quickly, because of social media and people talking. And I think that is leading to
I'm
the
afraid-
shortage of candidates that we're getting.
I'm afraid just us being here shows that we're not in lockstep with our town and doesn't bode well for the next candidates who are watching these meetings.
that's not right to say,
I
Mark,
can
because
tell
we
you
haven't,
I-
excuse me, because that's
Ca-
between us,
ca-
if you don't mind.
Case in point.
But, no, Mark, I just wanted to, I just said to Deb if I could speak, because we should be able to have an opinion, Mark, doesn't mean that we have to, and discussion, that's not appropriate for you to say, we're not in lockstep, or we're not in the military here, we're not in lockstep, we have opinions, thank God,
I was not
we're
in the
not in the
military.
military. But I don't think that's right to say or fear, because we, in all our meetings, we try to say, well, what do you think of this? I mean, we have to have a discussion. Sue brought this up, legitimate, you weren't in the last meeting, it was a great discussion, we talked about it, and we said, all right, Sue brought it up. I wasn't even thinking about it, and I said, we should respect our colleagues' opinion.
We talked about this for an hour, multiple meetings ago, that, again, I said at the end of the meeting, I was trying to figure out what the hell we had just talked about, because it was like the Twilight Zone. So here we are again. I'm not going to spend an hour talking about this again. So
Well, I
I'm going to
think
poll this
we
board,
have
I'm going
a
to poll my board
we know the opinion.
of their
Oh,
of
Sue,
their
careful.
decision on the appointment. Are you willing for this to be joint, or do you want this to be? Would you like this to be
She's not letting you speak.
a joint meeting? Or would you like this to be our board only, or their board only?
I think
Can I
the appointment
speak
has to be
before we make
a
any-
joint
I agree.
He's not going to let you. Can I
appointment.
make,
Sure.
I'm an elected official. I have also, by the town residents and taxpayers, I've also sworn to follow the state of Massachusetts laws and the Mass Board of Library Commissioners laws. I take being an elected official very seriously. I have also worked more extensively than any of the library board members or the select board members to work with our town HR director in one of her hats to rewrite the complete job description for a director, which I had not had an opportunity to do previously. I feel it is a much more positive, welcoming job description now that will attract candidates who will see the progressive, welcoming nature of our library. I have also worked extensively with Jackie as the interim library director to rewrite and reorganize all of the policies of the Flint Library, and I think they all now reflect a much more welcoming, progressive attitude. I'm also very proud of our library, despite what Mark thinks and says about it, that we now have a full degree librarian as an assistant director, a full MLIS librarian as an adult services librarian. We also have a staff member who is very close in the children's room to getting her library degree, and when we hire a new director, we will have an MLIS librarian running the library. This is 4 degreed librarians, whereas 5 years ago, when I first was elected, we had 0 librarians in that building. Anyone looking at Middleton is going to be thrilled and proud to come and serve for 2 reasons. One, this library has absolutely been turned around with fabulous policies and excellent staff. And 2, this select board does a fabulous job of financially supporting and maintaining our certification. That is what a candidate is looking for, and I think when they look online, that is what they will see, and when they watch this meeting, that is what they will see.
With a joint appointment by both boards. Imagine that, 2 boards that work together. I applaud you for everything you've done as a member of the library trustees, because that's the job of a library trustee. I get that.
Absolutely.
Completely. So, I think you're saying it should be
I just
joint.
can't, I mean, I respect all of that, folks. But I just can't relinquish the responsibility I have as selectman over who's going to be making a 6-figure salary in this town. Just because, I don't know, it seems just because you guys want the power to make the decision. I just can't support that. I'm sorry.
How many candidates is the COA going to be bringing?
I would not equate the two, I'm not saying the position, but I would not equate the two in terms of process. And just so we're clear, the COA director is not being appointed by the Council on Aging, nor is it being appointed by the Recreational Commission.
Or the
Being a-
Friends or anyone else.
Or
It's an
the Friends.
appointment versus an election and a
It's being
director.
appointed by
Yes.
this board, this
It's an
board,
appointment.
not a joint, this board, as our charter
Well, I think
requires.
Susan has spoken eloquently and makes a very clear case for how a trustee's responsibility is to abide by the Mass Board of Library Commissioners and our primary job. Susan, can you say it for me?
I think I've said it, and, you know, I understand that people don't agree with it, and that's certainly fine, but I think the select board is flexing its muscle, and that's what I see.
Can,
My.
Deb?
My.
Deb?
so for me, 2 things. For me, thank you. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for all that you do. But for me, for this position, and the fact of trying to get a library director in there. It's been vacant too long now. So yes, you are elected by the taxpayers of Middleton, and you take an oath of office. So for me, my oath of office is when I am taking it, because that also includes following the town charter. I cannot go away from that. I'll be honest with you, the other hat I wear as assessing is a different oath of office, and it still includes the town charter. It also, I have to know and make sure I am not over-assessing or under-assessing, same thing. So for the town charter is what I'm hanging my hat, that this board should be a part of. And you know what, it really shouldn't be that hard. We can all work together and get it done, but we've got to get a director in there. You guys have done such a wonderful job trying to get this to the finish line. Let's get it there. And you know what, sometimes, 100%, and sometimes it just takes more hands. So we're offering our hands.
So I would also like to comment, please, to Susan, that the Select Board has the ability to flex its muscles and say they're only going to be the ones to appoint and not us.
And I think
And
that is something
the-
that should be brought to the attention of the people in the town.
Well, but they're not doing that, and I think to Marie's point about being gracious, I think they've shown a history of not only working together, but their votes in the last one showed that we all have the town and the library in our best interest, and they all voted the same way.
You have a majority of your board, and you're going against it?
Publicly, on camera, yes.
A majority of your board.
I've done that many times.
Yeah,
I've been the sole voice in a board.
it doesn't,
I've
it
had
doesn't,
to,
it doesn't feel good, it doesn't, I don't go home.
Actually, it feels pretty good.
That's not nice, Brian. It's
Not
Christmas,
good.
it's Christmas,
No,
Brian.
No, that means I stand by my conviction.
I don't know, don't be Scrooge.
Can
But
I
you're
offer a
working-
compromise? May I? Please?
What are you thinking?
Okay. I'm wearing a lot of hats right now, so pardon me if I'm not as clear as I'd like to be.
And we appreciate that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you. I work with all of you. Worked with the board for a long time. Now worked more with all of you. Hear me out. You need a director. Everybody cares about the library. Everybody cares about the town. The library is a core building, a core community in our town.
that's right.
Respectfully, having everybody at a seat at the interviews, not a bad thing. If this body would like this body to go first and then have you guys go second in terms of making a decision, that might be an option. But, so yes, you are charged as library trustees with picking a library director. I take that very seriously. I respect it. This body also has to do the budget. They also are the only authority that can bargain with the library employee union. That is a new factor in this first library search this year in 2025. That wasn't relevant before. Having all 9 of you be supportive of whoever the new director is, the way you all 9 are supportive of me right now in this moment, is not a bad thing for our library director or for the union that these folks are the bargaining authority for. They charge that to myself and the town administrator, and a new library director will be involved in those conversations as well. Susan, I hear your point. I really do. I appreciate how seriously you take it.
It's all 3 of our points.
And I say because she brought it up at the most recent meeting, and I appreciate where you all are. Is there some version of this where everybody is in the room for the interview and gets to be a part of the conversation? Maybe, like, to me, it's not a bad thing to have more people who want to support the library. I certainly appreciate that everybody's elected and I'm the one that's not at the table. but I also, we have to move forward, and as I said to the trustees at their last meeting, like, I'm being given differing direction from two groups. I'm appointed by everybody. There has to be some kind of compromise so we can all move forward productively and get the posting out and have a process. Your library staff needs it, the library community needs it.
It's not being held up because we're meeting today, Jackie. Don't make
No,
that,
but I
I don't
also-
want you to give that impression by anybody watching this. It's nothing to do with holding it up.
I mean, I'm anxious to post if this is not resolved tonight, because then I'm pulling in candidates and I have a very long process.
Well, it's obviously going to get resolved. There's going to be a vote. End of story. So let's not make it more
I
dramatic
thi-
than it is.
But respectfully, I want it to be resolved in a way that's good for everybody.
Amicable.
Well, of course it will be amicable. Decision's made, everybody accepts the vote.
Jeff, what's your thought?
I don't have strong feelings either way. I do equate it a little bit with the Council on Aging. I'm still surprised that until Costa volunteered, we talked about it, I'm kind of shocked that there wasn't going to be any elected official where I equate the positions equally, so I'm still trying to process that. I don't really have a strong opinion. I'll go with the majority on this, whatever it is.
So Jeff, if your thought was for the COA director to have an elected official on that committee or search committee, then how would you not feel that strongly about the library director?
because they're
COA
elected.
director is still being appointed by this board.
Because they're all elected officials, there's 4 or 5
But
of
the
them.
town charter is a town
Right,
charter.
no, I understand that, but there is a process where they could be the group to bring one candidate. So the Council on Aging, we're not going to interview anybody for the Council on Aging. Other than Costa, we are not going to interview
So,
pretty much anybody.
I don't think I would argue it's not a foregone conclusion that it's only going to be one candidate that would come forward on the Council on Aging. The difference is, and we talked about this, and for those that are in the room here that were in the screening committee, there was discussion during the last process of candidates that were going to come forward. And there was, at one point, a majority of that screening committee that only wanted one candidate to come forward. I took some heat because my position was that screening committee can't send one candidate forward. It needs to be more than one. So,
Respectfully,
Yep.
can I say that was a very good decision, because here we are, board members who had never met any of the
yeah,
candidates.
no, and I thought it was important because I always say this, and I took this advice from this gentleman who always says, you know within about 3 minutes whether it's a candidate you want to hire. It was very clear to me in the screening committee. It was confirmed for me in the final committee. So I had a different approach when we had the final review of both committees, because I had sat in the screening. For you that wasn't, and you that wasn't, it was probably a different approach because you were seeing the two candidates together. Secondly, when a candidate's in on their second interview, they kind of, in most cases, they've learned a little something from their first. They can tell by body language and facial expressions when you're being interviewed. You know, what I just say, did it land well? Maybe I should approach it differently in my second interview. You kind of know where the questions are going in a second round of interview. So for me, I think if the screening committee had sent one candidate forward, we probably would have had a different outcome, in that it would have been a very split vote, in that folks would have felt like, I can't speak for this board or your board, but I think there would be some folks that would feel like candidates were being forced upon them, of like, what else was there? What did we not interview?
So why-
The reason
can I-
why
can I
I
ask
was,
a question
but
here?
let me just finish my thought here. The reason why I said moving away from the screening committee for the director is, as a joint meeting, 9 members of the 2 elected boards, let's get to interviewing candidates. Let's do that one interview, let's call them in. If there are some candidates that decide they don't want to be a part of it because it's an open committee, so be it. So be it. turbocharges it, moves it quicker.
I'm sorry,
Gets a
are you
candidate
saying
on.
it's gonna be open then? No, it's executive
He's
session.
saying no,
I'm sorry.
No
he's
screening
saying no
committee.
screening
Oh,
committee
I
and
want
just
to be
come right
clear,
to
I'm
this
sorry.
full
Right.
body.
Coming
I
to
want to be clear.
the full joint body.
I think there needs to be a ski.
I would still like to see, in my opinion, the screening committee was helpful because we had people that didn't show up after we thought, we saw resumes and we thought they were great, and then they didn't follow through. They
I wasn't surprised by anything from what I read to what I got. Wasn't surprised by it.
I was surprised that a few of them didn't show up after we picked and said, hey, this person looks good, but then they chose to stay at their role or whatever that case was.
Wasn't that only one, though?
Were you on the
One or
screening
two,
committee?
I
yeah.
thought there was only
It
one.
was at least, I thought there was two.
Whatever, I'm
It doesn't
saying.
matter. I know there was one.
We had a good
the-
number of
the-
candidates.
The person with the large font.
Yes, I remember that.
Description.
They got
Anyway.
promoted before we even,
I
that
think-
was before we even got to the screening.
The person's heading was
Yeah, it was
their
both.
entire name. Anyway,
Yes.
neither here nor there.
Little comedy.
It was, I was surprised about that, but I like the screening committee. I think it can be done pretty quickly, and I think I think it was successful, and it really helped us narrow down a few other candidates that we probably weren't ready to bring forward. So I thought there was value in the screening committee. I don't know if you felt the same way, Costa.
He
I wasn't on the
He wasn't
screening
on
committee,
it.
so, but what I would say is that I would like to have the same people continue on the screening committee. You all kind of been through this once, kind of have an idea of how a resume translates into the, needs and what you're looking for. And go through the resumes, pick up to 4 people for this joint meeting to interview and pick a finalist. So there's no preliminary interviews, there's only final interviews. And the screening committee just evaluates the
Did you
resume.
say candidate or candidates?
Up to 4 candidates.
Okay, I thought you
Sorry,
said
Costa,
eight,
can-
I thought you said candidate.
Wait,
It was kind
Yeah,
of, it was
sorry.
confusing what you
It was
said.
So you're saying the screening committee would only be doing resume review
Correct.
and then
Bring
pick a
out the-
top 4 from the resumes to the joint body for interview?
That's
So
what
the
we
screening
did, that's
committee
what we did
meets
last time.
pretty much once, goes over the resumes.
Is that fair to the candidates to bring
Yes.
3 people that definitely will not get the job into a public forum where they have to expose to their current
Yeah, I mean, it's,
colleagues and employer that they're looking for a job? That's a lot.
Yeah, I think you're changing the way you're looking to change how we did it, because how we did it in the screening committee is, it was executive session.
With all due respect, you're looking to change how we did it tonight.
No, I'm trying to understand, yes, of
Yeah.
course, I
Well,
am.
yes,
But I'm trying to
well,
understand what
obviously
Costa, it's not gonna happen, so I'm trying to understand what Costa's saying, because
screening
you're
committee
confusing.
narrowed, reviewed the resumes, interviewed some
Correct.
people, brought 2 people forward.
Correct.
I'm saying skip that intermediate interviews, and because you're skipping the intermediate interviews, you're expanding the final. Instead of 2, you have 3 or 4.
So you mean, because, no,
It's how we chose the last town administrator.
Well,
I
okay.
don't know about that.
But,
The last town
Or-
administrator, we had
I'm-
a screening that was done by a consulting firm that went through all of the resumes, and we did that with the town administrator before then, but we actually had a municipal screening committee that,
I do too.
quite honestly, was cumbersome. But our last town administrator, we had a consulting firm that went through all the candidates,
Was-
recommended, was there 4 or 5?
There was 4 and then we had to go back, so we brought 2 more in.
So
And then you picked.
I'm sorry to interrupt, in theory, your consulting firm was your screening committee.
Yes.
I kind of, in my opinion, having the same committee we had be the screening committee again is better than a consulting firm or not doing it.
Oh, I'm not saying bringing a
Going just-
consulting firm,
yeah,
but I was
totally
saying,
different.
Yeah, or
the
just
the
going
model
off the
that he just
resumes.
described is
Yeah.
the same
Going
model
off the
that we
resumes
used
is
for the
not
town
enough.
administrator, but
It
we had
wasn't enough.
a company.
But
I
Brian,
think-
it wasn't enough, and I think Mark and I agreeing that it wasn't enough to just go off the resumes. You were there.
Resumes were a little-
Rick was there
We would just bring the 5 that we saw.
without even meeting them.
We would have,
Right.
looked at the resumes and everything, and then brought 5 to that final night.
Four.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I'm saying in the past,
And-
saying in the past experience.
And to be
We
honest,
could say 4.
we probably would have landed the same way, I assume, with the exception that the person we picked's resume didn't bring all of their exuberance and communication skills and all the things that she had, I think were really strong and less strong on paper. I think seeing them in person the first time before we come before
Huge
the board is
difference.
the way we did
I
it. I
think
like
so.
the
Well,
way
I
we
wouldn't,
did it.
I wouldn't argue that with you, but I mean, just in the spirit of trying to accelerate it and, get it to
We did it pretty quickly, I
trustees,
thought,
you
but
know.
I thought we did it pretty quickly.
I think so.
And I think
How
we,
long was it between the time we had a pool of candidates and the time we,
2 weeks? Probably?
2.5, 3 weeks, because we
People were
ended up
away.
doing- Yeah, people were away.
Not us, the candidates. It wasn't us, it was the
Well, no, there
candidates.
were members of the screening committee that were away. So my thing is this, whatever the screening committee looks like, whoever's on it, I do love the idea of having the same group because they've already practiced. I would offer that, like, whoever's on the, whatever the screening committee does and whoever it is that does it needs to be available on January 15th to do it.
And 16th, maybe, you told us.
Or yeah, the Friday the 16th, if people are okay. Some people don't like to go on a Friday and do anything, and I respect that. But I would need them available the evening of the 15th, or at some point during the day on the 16th for screening committee, whatever that looks like. If the screening committee interviews people, I would hope to do it either the week of the 19th or the week of the 26th, and then have a finalist into both boards the week of February 2nd.
When would be the screening committee again?
If we do a screening committee that does interviews, they'd meet the 15th and the 16th to do resume reviews
Of January.
of January, and then just to give a little bit of window from when the candidates are due to when we're interviewing, probably the 26th, 27th for interviews. But if the screening committee is just reviewing resumes and shooting them right to the joint meeting, then we would do the 26th or 27th as the joint meeting.
So I would recommend resume review be done by the screening committee individually with recommendations that are made for interview by the screening committee. I understand what you're saying, Costa, but if there's a feeling that the screening committee should do the first round of interviews, I just want to turbocharge this and get the ball
You said
rolling.
it's
Would that
the
almost
same
depend
way.
upon how many applications we
Well,
actually
that's the
get?
next-
I'd love to say we're
That's
going to
the
get a
next
lot of
variable.
applications. I think we're going to get some applications that are going to get culled out pretty quickly.
Can we use the
That's pretty
same,
quick.
is it okay to ask if they would, the same citizens at large to be
Well,
advised? Can we do
it
that? Because I
did.
thought they were really,
When we,
Really
the
in-depth
screening committee that existed was appointed for a certain term or until the hiring of a director. If it was until the hiring of a director, then
haven't done
the
that yet.
committees can just
I
continue.
agree with you.
I thought we closed it, I thought I remembered.
Well, we closed the meeting. We
We
were not going
closed.
to, we didn't, it's not like
dissolve.
town meeting that we dissolved.
We didn't?
We just,
Okay.
we weren't coming back to approve minutes is what the
Okay.
reason for that.
Improvement.
Because I remember doing
Yeah.
something with dissolving.
Yeah, we had to approve the minutes before
Okay,
we
all
closed the
right,
meeting.
just wanted to be sure on that.
Did everyone show up and participate?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, we all did.
And participated like exceptionally well. There
Yep.
was, people who had note cards and questions, or, we were on, dialed
Well,
in.
don't forget Jackie did prepare us well. Give it to Jackie
Yes,
that she
yeah.
had these
But,
questions ready, and it was
Even
helpful.
the citizens at large had note cards, and they were into it. They were
Yes,
really, they took it
yes.
extremely seriously. And showed up at the night we
Appointed.
Yes,
Very,
you know.
very
They did,
robust
they did.
Yeah.
group.
They
So
enjoyed
I don't
it.
think there's a need
Agreed.
to actually take a vote here. I think it's pretty clear that this board is landing back again on the fact of our town charter, which for me is crystal clear.
Don't you have, I
don't
think you
report-
have to vote.
I don't.
You don't
this-
want to show your vote against us? Is that, to be honest with you, is that
This
it?
isn't a vote against you.
Oh, kind of.
It's not
Against
a
what
vote
we're,
against.
Maria,
against,
don't take this personally.
well,
It's-
I am.
What I'm
but I
saying
mean,
is,
it's how it goes. I
this
mean,
board's not relinquishing a right that the town charter calls upon us
I know,
to
Brian,
do.
but you started with the vote. It's confusing. It's just very
What
confusing.
confuses me, and I'm still confused, I'm gonna walk out of this meeting scratching my head.
Yes.
Is how we're treating the council on aging director. So it seems like all of us.
We're not, this board is appointing the council on
But
aging
this
director.
board wants to see at least two final library committee people and have a choice. And to me, those positions are pretty equal. I think they're both public-facing, there's a lot of responsibility in both. It's similar responsibility, just with a different constituency, and I just don't see the difference. And
Jeff, if
I-
you want two council on aging directors to come before this board, you have every right to call for that.
Okay.
You're the appointing authority.
Okay,
And I would tell you, if that's,
I heard that direction tonight that you wanted to.
okay, all right. I was blown away when I found out tonight, sitting here, that there wasn't going to be one elected official on the original plan was not to have an elected
So
official
why-
in front of
why-
any of those candidates. I'll be honest, I was blown away, and I'm still scratching.
And
my
I'm
head.
glad that you did bring that up, because I do agree with you wholeheartedly. But that's no different than what the library directors are asking us to do,
But the
to
difference that we're
trustees to
not
walk
doing-
away.
the difference that
They're
we're
asking
not,
us not to have an opinion.
but the difference that we're not doing on the council on aging director, to your point, Jeff, is we're not sitting here with two final candidates and taking a vote with
The council on
the
aging.
library director, the council on aging.
I understand
The recreation committee, and the select board. The
Right.
select board that is the appointing authority by the charter is making the vote. So I think we just solved your issue. So these boards feel like that they need to have a vote. I'll gladly have a vote, and we'll take a roll call. But for me,
I don't.
my belief
I'd like
is
to be on
that
the record.
this, there is a motion from the select board. I would entertain it.
I'll move that the next library director be appointed by a joint meeting of the select board and the trustees.
There is
I'll
a motion.
second
Is there a
that.
second? There is a second. All those in favor?
We get a
Aye.
roll, you want a roll call?
Yeah, you can take a roll call if you want.
Rick? Rick?
Yes?
Costa?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
And I am a yes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So I think number 10 in the agenda,
We
we've
dissolved the
also,
library.
you can,
Thank you.
you can close your meeting. You can close your board.
Motion to
Motion
dissolve.
to close the
Allison
Board of
moved.
Trustees.
Adjourned.
Second, Susan, all in favor?
I don't think I have to do that.
Our meeting's dissolved, there's, closed at 6:50.
Okay, number 10 in the agenda.
To the
Address
board.
that as well.
Thank you for seeing
We
us.
just have to confirm, Jackie, that the two, one other member of the screening committee that is here from the Friends of the Flint.
So the Friends may designate someone new based
Okay.
on availability, but what I'll do tomorrow is reach out to the trustee members of the screening committee, the select board members of the screening committee, the citizens at large, et cetera, validate that everyone is available for the time frame, and only if they're not available will we
So my
find-
question
Did
is,
we have to appoint them all, or just the ones from?
You appointed the two select board members, you appointed the designee of the Friends, and it was a joint appointment for the two at-large people.
No,
So-
1-and-1.
one and
Oh,
one.
I
one
think it
and
should
one,
be,
I'm sorry.
Costa, I think he made I think it should be the exact same people, and if anyone doesn't want to be on it, it'll just be one less.
Well, and that's
Rather
just
than
one
have
less.
different-
Because if not, we're going to have to call a joint meeting.
Yeah, just, it'll be what, I think the original committee, and if anyone wants to resign from the committee, there'll just be one less person. That would be what I would want to see,
I will confirm their availability.
Yeah, because my concern is that
reappointing.
we would be waiting
Right.
until January to appoint a screening committee. Which, there may be no work for the screening committee until January anyway.
Yeah, we have a minute for that.
Okay.
Very possible.
Okay.
But, let's look at,
Thank
how
you.
long we appointed.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So, so you'll report back on that after you poll the members that were a member of the screening committee. I hope everybody that was on it returns, because I actually think it was a good committee. Okay, I'm going to move back to number 7 on the agenda, which is reviewing the common classification grade B and a process for a grade review that we'll be also undertaking for FY '27. Jackie?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There had been a couple requests from various board members about revisiting comp and class. Holistically, I'm putting together a couple of positions for this year with the Collins Center based on some restructuring. So our COA director will likely become our community center director at some point, and there's a couple other positions whose duties have shifted. So I'm asking the Collins Center to do a job description review on those as we had to, as I had started to prep for in the fall.
Well, I think this is a
And then
worthwhile effort to be doing regularly anyway.
yes, for sure. And so we still have our regularly scheduled full market rate study update for fiscal '27. But also, the board had asked me to revisit comp and class grade B at this time. So I don't know if there's any other context any board members would like
Yeah,
to provide.
I don't know if there's any question folks have on the review and items on comp and class grade B specific, or any questions about what's going to happen leading into the budget process and FY '27 on the category as well. If not, then do you require a vote from us, Jackie?
So I would like a vote of this body. Any other time we've made changes mid-cycle, this board has taken a vote. So that would be helpful.
Okay.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, go ahead, Deb.
So, with the understanding of grade B for the comp and class, is the intent to have any new structure, increases, so on and so forth, available for budget hearings? Or is it gonna come after? Like,
mean-
how
you mean the
fast
review
is
for
the
FY
Collins Center gonna
For
work?
FY '27.
For 27, correct?
So for no, I'm sorry, Debbie, let me be clear. 27 is the year I'm budgeting for a full review. There will be some positions that are doing that review that we had talked about in the fall, because the structure and nature of the role had changed. Those are being put in progress now so that we can make changes for July 1 for fiscal '27. And then I'll be putting together a funding request to do a full redo of the market data for all grades to do that work in '27.
Oh, okay, misunderstood.
No, I apologize if I was not clear. I am losing steam tonight. I apologize if I'm not as clear as I want to
Me
be.
too.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yep.
If so, I would say, do you need two votes for us? One of them is to kind of kick off the grade review for FY '27, or is that?
That'll be working to get a couple of quotes to do that work, and
Okay.
I'll have it in my operating budget request to you for Budget
So
Saturday.
for short term, we need a vote for the review
grade
and
B.
changes of classification grade B for current year.
Correct.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
To look at it, or are we voting on a specific?
No,
change?
where the changes that we're making are the three roles within that classification category right now, individuals' placement in that range, correct?
Correct. So it's basically based on shifts in responsibilities and duties, a replacement of the three individuals within. We're not increasing the wage charts. We're just replacing those three people into new positions within the comp and class.
And due to changes that have happened within their circumstance, licensure, and others.
Correct.
Yeah.
And those would be out of their department's existing salary budgets.
budget.
And if not, then I will be, if there's anything that's not gonna be covered, which I think will be minimal from that, there may be one department where I need to go and ask the FinCom for additional funding.
Okay,
But I would imagine that's less than $5,000.
okay.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I don't know what the changes are.
The changes that are happening here, so we have three positions within there. We have the assistant
I-
clerk, assistant assessor, and assistant treasurer. The changes that are happening there is their placement on the scale.
Okay,
The assistant clerk is moving towards the top of the scale. The assistant assessor is, I believe, moving about midway,
50th percentile.
50th percentile, and the assistant treasurer is moving about 40th percentile?
30 to, between 30 and 40th percentile.
Okay.
Due to achieving,
Yeah, so for the assessor is recently been
She's received her Massachusetts Assessing Association designation, which is huge.
Yeah. And the other assistant treasurer here for a year, looking at where she came in the role and the work that she's been doing. And then for the third position, it's due to duties at the recommendation of the town clerk.
Right, so,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
so I'm ready to vote yes.
Okay, so there's a motion and a did you?
I second.
Okay,
Rick
motion and a
second.
second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? Okay, I think we're at the end of our agenda. Just a little updates and announcements. Usually Costa always starts with this. I'm going to start with this. December 30th meeting, I recommend at this time we do not need that. I'd ask the members to be on call if we have to do a Zoom meeting for any license issues. But I'm expecting that likely will not happen. So we will not be meeting again until January 6th. So that means to everybody here on the board, everybody in the town, those at home, I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday, and a wonderful start of the new year.
Yep.
One thing, we had gotten some emails about Essex Tech looking at their admissions policies. And is, as I insert, to establish minimums from each community.
So, they will be having a hearing on, January 6th from 10 a.m. to 12 noon in the Larkin, which is one of their meeting spaces.
Their new meeting space.
Yes.
Is it just minimums, or are there going to be maximums?
Apologies. It's basically a full change to the allocation procedure.
It's a change.
And there's a draft dated December 9th that would basically create minimum targets for all the communities for grade 9 enrollment. And so basically smaller communities would have a baseline enrollment of 5. Larger communities would be higher. Our minimum target would be 13. That's about on track with about how many we tend to put in at grade 9. I would say it's probably like an average of our last few years.
Are there certain small towns in the district that are feeling that their residents are being left out because they're not part of a lottery or a process?
I think that there's less of, it's less about community by community admissions. And from what I'm gaining from the conversations, it's more about that they have a pretty stringent admissions process that takes into consideration academic achievement, behavioral issues, goals. There's a pretty rigorous admissions process, and this move is to create allocation minimums for each of the communities as they move back to a lottery-based system for admissions.
Got it. Okay.
And the bigger the minimum for Middleton, the better. Because this year, it's costing us $21,000 per student at Essex Tech, as opposed to $25,000 at Masco. So if they go to Essex Tech instead of Masco, we
Which
save
has
money.
always, historically, when you look at assessment costs for a vocational school versus a non-vocational school, that per pupil has always been substantially higher at a technical high school, but that's not the case here.
Right, I have one thing. I forwarded an email earlier to the board and the administration, something that a resident brought to my attention that had to do with, in Congress, the FCC bills that allow them to unilaterally install 5G cell towers without site processing on communities and whatnot, and just give it a look. Probably more for town council to have a look at.
So Congress is debating, or Congress has
Has
passed?
bills, has a bill numbered, and it's in the House, and it's to, that the FCC can determine on its own where they're gonna put. Now, obviously, even without site reviews in town, private property is private property, but what concerns me is the first places they would probably move on would be municipalities, and what do municipalities own for land? Schools. So I thought that was something that was So the email's generated from
Okay, I'll check my
Children's
email.
Health, whatever, that brought it to attention, but
Oh, we
seemed pretty
don't.
serious, and I thought it was
Yeah,
something that we
this
could
is
hear
just
back over the
Brian.
holidays from town council.
Okay,
Just
okay,
for
thank you for that.
Brian.
Anybody else
5G
have anything
towers
for
in
the
my
board?
playground.
No.
I do not.
tonight.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn,
All moved.
and we stand
Oh, I
adjourned.
think we do.